Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's video, we'll be focusing on a backdoor cold front bringing pleasant weather conditions through this upcoming weekend with temperatures and also well-needed precipitation across the middle of the country. And then a significant pattern change is in the offing with heat building across the southern plains and the southeast, and then the storm track that shifts north into the Midwest and Ohio Valley, what that means for your precipitation chances moving forward. And then a brief tropics update at the end of the video with possible development area we're watching in the tropical Atlantic. We'll get into those details later on in today's video. But currently, we are seeing a backdoor cold front moving into the south and west this morning across the Great Lakes, the Midwest, and the Ohio Valley. And this is going to be bringing our pleasant temperatures going through the week. And this will drop all the way south into parts of the Gulf Coast going in through late this week on Friday, June 9th. And look at the temperatures today. These are your high temperatures with that front moving through. We are into the 70s in places like Milwaukee, Green Bay, Chicago, over here into Detroit. 60s we are with high temperatures up here, even some 50s being felt up into Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, upstate New York. Definitely seeing a cool down, cooler temperatures for this time of year, but the heat will be building ahead of that front across the Great Plains down here into the Gulf Coast states and parts of the southeast today. And then going into Friday, as that front drops further south, we'll get rid of the widespread 90s for the most part across the Great Plains, in exception to Texas and Louisiana. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing lots of 70s and 80s really ruling the roost for the weather forecast on Friday. And then as we go into Sunday through the weekend, even cooler temperatures further to the north as the heat starts to build across the southern plains and the Gulf Coast states. And that will mark the change in our weather pattern as we start the new week next week. But going through the rest of this week, from today all the way through the weekend and into Monday morning on June 12th, this is where the rainfall is expected across the northern Rockies. The heaviest of the rain will be up here into northwestern Montana. Some areas could be seeing 1 to as much as 4 inches of rain going through early next week. We'll see northwest flow, and we'll definitely have some decent rains down into southwestern South Dakota through Nebraska, Colorado, getting into Kansas here, Missouri seeing some decent rains there as well, down into Arkansas and also into parts of the Tennessee Valley as we go through this weekend. And a lot of these areas will be seeing a half an inch to as much as 2 inches of rainfall. So definitely some beneficial rains in places that do need it, with some of the drought still in play out there going over the next several days. But if you are new to the channel and have yet to subscribe, be sure to press the subscribe button down below. It's free to do, and you get all of these detailed weather breakdowns each and every morning at 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time on this channel. I cover southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics on this channel, so definitely be sure to press the subscribe button down below if you have not yet already. And it's also very important for everybody to press the like button, the thumbs up button down below the video. It helps out more than you know to get all this weather information out to as many people as possible, so I appreciate that as well. But like I said, going into early next week, finally the weather pattern starts to change a little bit. Starting on Monday, June 12th, we start to see more of a dominating high pressure system across Mexico and down here into South Texas near the Rio Grande Valley. In between, we're going to see some troughing from the desert Southwest and on up into the Great Lakes region, bringing some unsettled weather and cooler temperatures at first, with a ridge over the top there into Canada and the Pacific Northwest on your Monday. And that really continues as we go into Wednesday. More troughing across the east and a ridge building across the center and the western 2/3 of the country during the middle of next week. But as we get closer to Father's Day weekend on Friday, June 16th, that's when the pattern really starts to take shape, where the high pressure system will be dominating the southern plains and the desert southwest, with the heat in the middle two-thirds of the country there, the middle western two-thirds of the country, and then cooler weather for the northeast and eastern Canada briefly as we go through that Friday time frame. So showing you the temperatures going into next week on Monday, June 12th. With that change, yeah, we see lots of middle and upper 90s down here into central and especially south central Texas, northern Mexico. Yeah, the lot of these areas will be heating up in a big way. But you see to the north there, pleasant conditions will prevail across the Midwest, the northern plains, getting through the Ohio Valley and the Northeast. A lot of 70s, a lot of low 80s out there on Monday. So definitely get outdoors if you can here, if you don't see any rainfall, and enjoy the nice cool temperatures for June standards. But as we go to Wednesday, we will start to heat up across portions of the Midwest and the Ohio Valley back into the middle, perhaps upper 80s, and then the heat will start to move a little bit further to the north and become more dominant across the Great Plains and the Mississippi Valley as we get closer to Father's Day weekend on Friday, June 16th, with a lot more of the 80s and low 90s out there. And the triple digit heat will be from the Rio Grande Valley back across the Phoenix area, getting into Death Valley there. Phoenix could be up near 105 degrees, and outskirts there we could be up to near 110 as we go into that Friday, June 16th time frame. Well, looking here at the severe weather prospects going into next week, well, on Wednesday, we're going to start to see some return flow out of the Gulf of Mexico. Dew points will rise into the 50s as far north there as Nebraska and Kansas, perhaps even into Missouri. South of there into the Arklatex and the southern plains, so places like Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, we'll see dew points back well into the 60s, if not the low 70s on Wednesday. But watch as the dew points start to rise further to the north across the lower Midwest, the central and southern plains as we get through that Father's Day weekend time frame on Friday, June 16th. Dew points are in the 60s, some 70s out there, and we have some precipitation moving through as well during that June 12th through the 16th time frame during that week across portions of the Front Range down through the southern plains and into the Tennessee Valley. With that unstable environment, we definitely could be seeing some severe weather. So my severe weather forecast from June 12th through the 16th will be more likely if you live into eastern Colorado, southern Nebraska, down through much of Kansas, Oklahoma, southwestern Missouri, and in towards the Little Rock region there in central and western Arkansas. But if you do live in the yellow shaded color here, it's still possible you see some severe weather events during that week time frame of June 12th through the 16th, primarily damaging winds and large hail, but I cannot rule out even a few tornadoes during this time frame as well. But after that, after we get through that time frame into Father's Day weekend itself on Saturday and Sunday, June 17th and 18th, and then getting beyond there toward the 21st time frame, look at the change in our temperature anomalies. We have the heat building across eastern Canada and especially the eastern two-thirds of the country, the Mississippi Valley, and especially down here into the southern plains. We will be heating up in a big way towards that second half of June, whereas the western two-thirds of the United States and toward the Intermountain West and western Canada will start to trend below average with the temperature during that 15th through the 21st time frame of June. And then that really extends into the end of June all the way through the 30th. We see the heat really taking shape across the eastern two-thirds of Canada there and much of the eastern two-thirds of the United States as we close out June. Well, looking at precipitation trends, as we see the temperatures warm up, we're going to see more drier conditions underneath that dominating high pressure system across the southern plains. So we will be drying out across the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Houston, down there toward Brownsville, and even portions of the Albuquerque region into New Mexico, where over the top we're going to see more Pacific moisture and some moisture from the Gulf of Mexico trying to get thrown up and over the ridge as we go through that 15th through 21st time frame and even in towards the end of June across places that probably will be needing a lot of rain into the Midwest and Ohio Valley, and this could set up what we call an MCS storm complex track where we have more of these overnight storm complexes move through, mainly with heavy rain, damaging winds, and hail, and even, who knows, maybe a few tornadoes towards the end of June. This pattern would be favorable for derechos. Now, I'm not saying a derecho is going to occur, but the pattern certainly would favor a progressive derecho pattern with an airflow around the dominating high pressure system clockwise. You definitely could be seeing a situation where we have these MCSs getting strong enough to go long distances and produce derecho impacts as well. So this could be felt during that middle to late June timeframe, and you can see the instability will be building into strong, if not extreme levels further to the north across the northern plains and the Midwest, and even parts of the western Ohio Valley during that Father's Day weekend timeframe, and especially thereafter. So towards June 20th, June 25th, and even June 30th, that's where we're going to start to see the instability build further to the north as well. So we'll continue to watch that. And that's where I do see the severe weather most likely from the upper Midwest here, the places like the Twin Cities, Des Moines, Iowa, getting over here toward Green Bay, Milwaukee, Chicago, and then getting down into Indianapolis here, Toledo, the Charleston, West Virginia area, Lexington, Kentucky. Those are just some of the locations where severe weather will be more likely during the second half there of June, from June 16th all the way through that June 30th time frame to close out the month. But if you are in the yellow shade of color, it's still possible. I think we could be seeing some severe weather during that time frame. So now is a good time to get upgrade your NOAA weather radios, get more of them. Just have ways to receive alerts later on in June in case some severe weather does break out across the Midwest and Ohio Valley. Since it has been so long since you guys have seen severe weather, it will be coming back to you guys later on into June. Now, turning to the tropical weather update, it's very quiet across the Atlantic for the most part. Definitely not seeing too many significant waves moving across the tropical Atlantic, but the National Hurricane Center is still monitoring an area across the northeastern tropical Atlantic at a 10% chance of development over the next 5 to 7 days. And I really don't think it has too much of a chance at development, at least over the next couple of days, over the next 24 to 48 hours. We'll just have to see how that works out. It is definitely well off to the east of the United States. So this will not be a threat to the United States whatsoever. But we're seeing some very warm sea surface temperature anomalies closer to the United States into the Western Gulf, and especially the Caribbean really stands out with the boiling water temperatures here currently. So if any system does develop and move westbound, and especially if it can get into the Caribbean and toward the middle and latter portion of June, that would cause trouble because the water temperatures are boiling, and if the shear values are down, we definitely could be a concerning weather pattern as we get toward later June, but nothing is set in stone right now. But toward the middle of the month, definitely starting to see more of these tropical cyclone origin points closer to land across the Western Caribbean, across the Gulf, the Western tropical Atlantic, a lot more of these across the Eastern Pacific Ocean as well, and especially closing out the month from June 21st through the 30th, you start to see a lot more of these across the Caribbean, the Gulf here, and even parts of the Eastern Pacific Basin as well. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on that as we get towards the middle and latter portion of June. Well, thank you guys so much for watching here today's video. If you want additional weather forecast updates in addition to today's video, be sure to press the description down below and follow me on Twitter at hweather420. I do post on that platform very frequently throughout the week. So I appreciate you guys also following me on there. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching today's video, each and every one of you guys. I appreciate it. If you like today's video, press the thumbs up button down below. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. A great rest of the week, and I will see you all in the next video.